Farcaster 101 is an educational series brought to you by GM Farcaster in partnership with Snickerdoodle, building off of their State of Farcaster report, which you can access at snickerdoodle.com. This 12-part series introduces all aspects of the Farcaster ecosystem and helps you get started building your social graph and brand on Farcaster. GM Farcaster, and we are back with another Farcaster 101, Module 8, and we're continuing on with our chat about meme coins. So we're going to jump right in to our discussion today. We're going to be talking about how sort of meme coins came about on Farcaster, what makes them a little different than other platforms, some of those specific meme coins that have taken off on the platform like Degen, Ham, Hire, Moxie, and others. And we're going to also talk a little bit about some of the integrations and things that have been built on top of these coins or incorporating the different tokens. And then tipping culture, which has really taken off on Farcaster and has become a big part of our ecosystem. So we're going to start here. So Adrian, you want to do a little review of what we chatted about in the last module?
Yeah, so in Module 7, we just were introducing kind of cryptocurrencies on Farcaster. And we just did a review because Farcaster being a blockchain-based social network, it's built on optimism. That gives all sorts of benefits you get from a social network perspective. So because Farcaster is a blockchain network, users own our identities, our accounts. No one can take them away. It's full self-sovereignty. Everybody has their own wallet attached. We get censorship resistance. It's permissionless building. So that's all great from a social network perspective. But because it is built on crypto rails, you also get just all sorts of financialization just inherently built in because everybody has a wallet when you sign up for Farcaster. Even if you're not crypto native, even if you've never had a wallet before, everybody gets an Ethereum wallet. You can bring your own wallets and attach your own wallet. So every user on Farcaster has an Ethereum wallet attached to their account, which means just if you want to do any sort of payments, rewards, send value, send currency, send tokens, it's just built in and not just to Warpcast the client, but at the protocol level. So tons of potential for kind of integrating any sort of like financial transactions directly in the social feed.
Exactly. So meme coins sort of took off around this time last year. And I just realized I spelled meme coins wrong, but we're just going to leave that there. And we're going to pretend that says meme instead of mem. But I remember the coins when they launched, and the first one was points, and that was launched on mainnet. And it was a play on there was a moment, there was a meta about points, and it was kind of around the time that Rainbow launched points, but didn't really say what the points were for or anything like that, as well as some other, points meta that was happening at that moment. And so a dev on Farcaster launched points. And one of the things they did was airdrop it to a lot of OG holders. So literally those who were holding the OG NFT. And it kind of went from there. And although that didn't see a lot of success for many reasons, it got a little overwhelming for the dev who created it because of the attention that he wasn't expecting. And that sort of went by the wayside. And then Farts launched. And Bill, we love Bill Z, but really wished he had picked a different term, but it was fun at the time. So Farts was a little different because it was created to benefit directly Purple DAO. And Purple is the DAO that was created to support Farcaster builders. So all the sort of benefit from this particular coin went into the DAO's treasury and was able to fund some really cool things for them. So that was also on mainnet, and the DAO at that time was on mainnet. And then we had WoW. Now, this was a play on another meme. We talked about it in our discussion on culture. You'll see the wow reaction. If you ever type wow into a cast, it will change the heart into a wow wow. So it had a little moment as well. And then a token was created based on that meme that was already living on Farcaster. So it was taking a meme that already existed on Farcaster and turning it into a token rather than the other way around with some of these other ones. So Wow Wow, again, had just a little bit of a blip. It didn't really have a lot of staying power, but it was sort of that first sort of moment on base as a meme coin where folks started to see like this could be a whole different experience. And then came DGen. So Adrian, tell us a little bit about DGen, what it is and why is it special and different from some of the other coins?
Yeah, so DGen was a token that launched in Farcaster, I guess at the very beginning of 2024. So January 2024, just another meme coin. There was a DGen channel in Farcaster where was building a community of crypto DGens. And with out of the, as we started seeing more and more meme coins launch, not just in Farcaster, but kind of in other areas as well, DGen was created as a token. What was different, I think, about DGen 1, there was an initial airdrop. What's interesting, also similar, I guess, to points is because social graph data is open, the airdrop was using different data from the Farcaster graph. So some of it went to people who were active on Farcaster. I don't remember if it was OGs specifically or just
It
people who
was,
are
yeah.
active. Yeah, and then it
It was
also
OGs, it was power users, it was those who were interacting in the DGen channel. So, and again, the DGen channel itself was created before the token, but it did use some of that as well to increase the airdrop.
yeah, and like all good meme tokens, typically the token should come after the meme and not the other way around. So, so DGen launched, and what was new about it was the mechanism for distributing the token. Not everything was available upfront; it was being released in different phases, and the mechanism was going to be through something that was eventually was called tipping, which just meant that people on the feed could distribute out DGen just through comments in a feed. So if Nounish Prof casted something and I liked what she said, I could just add a comment in a reply and just say, 100 DGen with the symbol for DGen. And then that would be me kind of distributing some DGen token to Nounish Prof. It didn't necessarily come from my allocation of DGen. Everyone had like an allocation of tips that they could give out. So it was a novel mechanism and it really exploded. It was coincidentally launching around the same time as Frames, which we've covered before, but Frames being a new primitive that let developers build very small interactive experiences, but directly in the feed. So what we saw was just a massive influx of users coming to Farcaster in kind of late January, February, as DGen was taking off and Frames was available.
So much so that when the Frames launched, as we mentioned, there was a frame you could purchase Girl Scout cookies in, and you could do that with DGen. So I famously paid 90,000 DGen for 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, purposefully, intentionally. Yes, I wanted my Bitcoin pizza moment. So it's it kind of took on its life of its own. The ecosystem took to it. The tipping mechanic is really different because instead of allotting the whole airdrop at once to certain people, it then sort of trickled it out over time, where you have this up to 10,000 DGen allowance that you can still do. There's some certain requirements on that. You can find all that at dgen.tips. But it allows you to distribute on behalf of the protocol. You're not, like Adrian said, you're not taking it out of your own wallet. It's something that the DGen project is giving to you to distribute. And then you're able to claim those that are distributed to you at certain, like at the end of the month, each month. So very different mechanic. And the other thing with the sort of meme development and how it developed over time was this sort of memification of D-gentleman. And we kind of, there was a little pushback by the ladies. They're like, what about the ladies? So it's D-gentleman and ladies. But it became this top hat, this sort of top hat vibe. I think Oxen was involved in some of that discussion, one of the sort of Farcaster artists, OG artists. This top hat sort of became the symbol for degen. It was worked into the logo, and it's one of the other reacts that you'll see on Farcaster. So if you use the top hat symbol, or no, if you type in degen, if you type in degen or use the top hat, I can't remember which, the little symbol becomes a top hat. So I think it's if you type in the word degen. So just a fun little mechanical quirk of the platform that makes it just a little bit more enjoyable, little moments of joy that I love. They also launched an L3. So there's been a lot of building on top of it, as well as a lot of permissionless apps. And you can find all these in the apps section of dgen.tips. And some of those apps are games. There's a really fun one where you can tip to people, but you do it via a game. And it's just really fun. So there's all these different, the builder energy just sort of dropped on top of this token. And it's what's kept it sustaining for this whole time. So it's been about 10 months. That is a very long life for a meme coin. And so I think that the difference is the thoughtful dev at the core of it, as well as the builder energy around Farcaster that's helped to keep it going beyond just speculative, the speculative nature of coins in general. Anything else on that, Adrian, that I may have forgotten?
Just the dev behind degen is doxed. We know who that is. It's Jacek. He was on our show. We did a GM Farcaster interview early on when degen launched, and then a follow-up a few months later. So we'll drop those links as well if you want to learn more about degen. Those are good episodes to catch up on.
Yes, great. And then we have other coins that have launched since then, and many have a similar tipping mechanic. One of those is Ham. And Ham has a lot of similarities to degen in terms of how it's distributed, except I believe that the Ham tipping is actually coming from your own personal allocation. I'm not positive, but I believe that's how it works. There's a lot more information that you can find on ham.fun. And this has its own community that's very active on Farcaster. They also have an L3. So they've been doing a lot in terms of building on top of that token. And then there's Moxie. And Adrian, can you share a little? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'll just say one thing on Ham. They also have their own emoji.
They do have their own emoji. Yes.
Whereas degen has the purple top hat, Ham has a ham bone.
Ham. It's a ham bone
emoji. And
that's what's used for tipping. It's the ham bone and then whatever the amount is. Yeah. So that is, it's a little fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So feedback we've gotten from new people to Farcasters, they come in and they see things like top hats and ham bones and ham and degen. And it can feel overwhelming. They don't know where to begin. It's just that's their meme coins, and they have communities around them. One of our favorite Farcaster users named Naomi, whose handle is @AfroChicks, created a great minute video, kind of TikTok style of what it feels like in real life to walk through the Farcaster feed of people throwing hams in your face. So we can link that as well if you want to.
Yeah, we'll put that in the notes. It is quite funny. Yeah.
So yeah, and Ham was similar, again, similar to degen in terms of mechanics, I think slightly different. And then Moxie had a big launch this summer. Moxie was built by the team at Airstack. Airstack was previously doing a lot of Farcaster infrastructure and Farcaster APIs. The vision for Moxie is similar, I think, to degen and Ham, which is the idea that people should be paid for their content, and that financialization in a social network is not a bad thing, that it can be good, that in the Web 2 worlds, there's a lot of money in social, but it's accruing really to the network not to the network participants. So it goes to the corporate networks. So, the Metas of the world and the Twitters take most of the monetary, and the users who are generating all the value does not. So the vision always has been where users are generating the value of a social network, users should participate or in the upside. So the vision for Moxie was another token where the distribution of Moxie happens not through tipping mechanisms, which you can see on your feed through people actually doing it, but it just happens automatically based on likes, recasts, and replies. So it is kind of algorithmically determined based on organic engagement in the feed.
And and you can learn more in the Airstack channel, or airstack.xyz, I believe is the link. And we'll have these links for you in the notes as well. And just a note on all of this, every single token that we've mentioned, NFA, like not financial advice. Please do your own research, because there is a lot of risk of loss involved with playing around with cryptocurrencies, especially meme coins. They are a very volatile asset. So if you are playing around with these, just be very careful and know that you should treat it like a casino, and only risk what you're willing to lose. So just a safety note there. And this is in regards to any meme coin of any kind, anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I go so far as to say, you say they're volatile assets. I always go far to say they're not even all assets. They're
not. I think that's
so
accurate. Accurate. Definitely accurate. I think what Moxie brought that was different, and each one of these has had a different innovation, the ones that we're highlighting, and they had a different approach. And I think with Moxie, like sort of stripping away the overt tipping and making it a little bit more seamless, was trying to solve the problem of having a feed that was full of, 616 degen everywhere, and those kind of commenting things that might be ruining or disrupting, I would say, maybe not ruining, but disrupting your normal feed. So yeah. Sorry, and I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to add that, like, our goal for these modules is to give you a history of meme coins on Farcaster. It's not how do you invest in meme coins on Farcaster, and that is definitely not. So there's in our cultures on module and stuff we've talked about. In our modules on culture and things we've talked about in previous Farcaster 101 modules, we keep saying Farcaster is for builders. So it is a new emerging space. There is a ton of novel behavior happening. Great for building. If you want to come and speculate, that's people do that, but that's not really our stance here. Is just kind of being giving you the history of Farcaster, and meme coins have definitely been. You can't talk about Farcaster without talking about meme coins.
Exactly. And speaking of another innovation in culture, meme coins and culture with Hire. So Hire was launched within the Farcaster ecosystem. So those are sort of the early holders, and the founders met each other through that ecosystem, as well as the Nouns ecosystem. So sort of bringing those two things together. And they launched Hire with a fair launch. Anyone who was in the Hire channel at that time, I believe, received an airdrop. But the team itself doesn't hold anything extra beyond that. So a little different. But the idea behind Hire is really to focus on the memes of Hire and the concept of always trying to strive for higher ideals, higher values, etc. So a little different vibe than other coins you might see, but it's found a lot of success within that sort of builder energy as well, and has inspired a lot of different folks to go out there and build all different things, whether that's podcasts or skateboards, or other kinds of merch, hats and things like that, as well as athletics. Hire athletics, Hire run club. So there's a lot of different sub communities that are starting to form around Hire, as well as it does have a strong art focus. And it was launched by a couple of artists that were involved in the launch, and Light is one of them, LGHT, on Farcaster, and has a certain aesthetic that a lot of people vibe with and really enjoy. So that's been part of that sort of success as well. Anything else about Hire that we should mention? You can go check Hire FM as well with our friend Chic Bangs, who does a radio program where she does interviews and music, which are really cool as well. And that's a great place to learn more.
Yeah, and I think Hire is just a great example of a token that it kind of goes alongside a community, but the community exists with or without the token.
Yeah,
it's like the
absolutely.
community does feel substantial, and it's there with or without the token. So that's as opposed to kind of a token driven community.
I think that's a great way to put that. And there's the whole sort of other part of this was the experiment around a headless brand, and that's the connection to Nouns as well, which is a DAO, which is also a headless brand. So the idea is, can you grow this without there being a centralized team that's always the one who has to push everything? And that's what you see happening here, is the community launching their own pieces of this culture. And a few other apps and integrations. A lot of the meme coins that we've talked about are also integrated in other apps and frames that you'll find on Farcaster that have been built on Farcaster, like Bountycaster. You can launch bounties in different token denominations, like Hire, like Degen. I think WowWow was the first one that was a meme coin that was integrated. And then Paybot, same thing. So if you want to pay somebody in a different token amount, you can do that using Paybot. And you may even see an AI agent paying people with Hire. It does happen using Paybot. Also cast actions, same thing. You can do a lot of things like paying and different interactions. There are some games that involve different tokens, like Degen tipping, which we mentioned earlier. And there are a lot of frames, either informational frames that will give you information about, here's what you have left for a tipping allowance, things like that, or other statistics, or other fun ways to integrate into frames. Like if you launch a Ponder survey, you might win some Degen or OP or Moxie. If you play the game with the perks team, where you're trying to guess which movie it is based on a blurry image, you might earn some Moxie there. So there's different integrations into different frames and apps that are on Farcaster. Anything else there that I may have forgotten, Adrian?
The Snickerdoodle share to earn frames, another great
Yes.
example for how you can integrate tokens within experiences. And I think it just goes to show, I mean, this is composability in action. So different communities are launching different tokens, but the tokens exist on the blockchain, which means anyone has access to that information and can build on top of it and build. So it's we're seeing just the very, very early days of experimentation and creativity with various composable Legos. And we're already, it's exciting already, and it still just feels very, very early.
Very early.
So
we are very early. And speaking of early, AI and meme coins. So it's happened in the past week or so. I think it's only been a little over a week. Seems much longer. Is the launch of the AI token bot called Clanker. And we just interviewed Proxy Studio, who is the creator of the AI bot Clanker. And so you can go check that out. That was from episode 181, and we'll link that in the notes as well. And that will give you a lot more detail on what exactly is happening. But in a quick summary, this bot, if it is up on online, if you tag it in a post, it will help you create a meme coin and launch it right there. It will give you a full token page, including the deck screener and a embedded Uniswap thing where you can swap right there. So it's got everything built in. It's quite impressive because you're just essentially typing a cast, hitting send, and the bot's taking it over from there. It's so easy that a bot launched launched a token with Clanker. So one bot talked to another bot and they launched a token together. And that is currently up and running everywhere. So it's been a really fun innovation. And it's something to definitely keep an eye on and watch what happens next, because there's going to be more built on top of that as well. Anything else you want to mention about that, Adrian?
I'll just comment, it's so fascinating because we started this module on the history of meme coins and Farcaster with the points and the WoW tokens, which were human generated on mainnet.
Yeah.
And not integrated into your feed. And they still took off and were popular. So you went from kind of human generated mainnet tokens to less, like just about little, like less than 12 months later.
Yep.
To AI generated tokens using a bot on the feed. There was a time when we could actually tell you, here are the 4 or 5 tokens that are exist. It's like infinite now. So
yeah, I couldn't
as
even
you can
begin.
imagine, it is at least at this moment that we're recording is Farcaster's kind of obscene AI meme coin moment.
Yep.
But yes, it's early, and we'll see where this goes and how this develops. And it's I think from a developer standpoint, there's a lot of interesting primitives being built, and
that's the exciting part.
Exciting place to be building. Yeah.
Very exciting to just see the different innovations, different approaches, different experimentation. But Clanker, we kind of agree. I am growing wary of the pace of your speculative mania. That was from the bot. It needed a break. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun though. So we hope you come and check that out if you're not already familiar. And in our next module, we're going to talk about content creation and best practices, and we'll share some of our favorite content creators on Farcaster and give you some tips for creating different content. And Adrian, anything else you want to say about meme coins before we sign off this module, or anything else that I may have missed?
I think we covered it. If cryptocurrency is not your thing, if meme coins isn't your thing, if trading, it's totally okay. There are tons of people in Farcaster who don't touch a meme coin at all and have great experiences. If it is your thing, there's also many more rabbit holes you can dig into and go deeper in and deeper into it. So hope these modules were helpful in just kind of understanding the lay of the land and the history. And, wherever you stand, have fun and be safe.
Have fun and be safe. And again, be safe out there. Meme coins do have a risk of loss, so be careful with any investing that you may do. And with that, we will see you again next time, where we talk about content. We'll also be available in office hours to answer any questions about this or anything else you may have learned in our Farcaster 101 series. And with that, everybody, bye-bye.